Welcome to another Online Personals Watch CEO interview. I'm joined by Beverly May. You're the CEO and founder of Minidates.com.
That's right.
Thanks for the interview opportunity. Beverly, I'd like to ask you, how do you define Minidates? How is it different from other dating services?
Well, Minidates is the first true dating service that sends you dates based on your schedule of when and where you're free. So we're the first service to actually send you dates around your schedule as well as who you're seeking.
And how's the site doing?
Well, so far so good. We just launched this last few weeks, and we've got 3,000 people on a waiting list that we've gathered over the last 3 months. And so we're slowly getting those onto the service, as well as adding new members. Anyone can join right now if they go to Minidates.com and sign up for free and try it out.
And what was your considerations on privacy in the app?
Well, we do a number of things to help protect our members' privacy. For one, we validate their email and their phone number. So we do take that extra step, as well as using HTTPS. And then, although we're sending members onto real venues and real dates, the woman gets to choose the venue in a hetero match. So she's the one who gets the possible date first and gets to choose the actual venue. And all the venues that are listed in the app actually are either coffee shops or bars, so they're public venues and busy ones as well. So in that way, she gets to choose. And then we also allow for private communication between two members. So they can communicate through blind SMS or blind email before or after, and members review each other after the date. So let's say if someone doesn't show or they're a jerk, then if enough people say that they're a jerk, they will ultimately get kicked off the venue. They can also be flagged or reported as dangerous at any time, and their profile will immediately be taken down and put under review by our internal team.
How about the profile? How are you letting people define themselves in the profiles on Minidates?
Well, we take a mid-level approach to the profile, so it's not as comprehensive or as long as, let's say, eHarmony, and it's not as short or picture-oriented as Scout or some of the location-based services. We basically did our own research across 250 possible members, as well as reconciling all the major dating sites to see what was the most important and most common. And so our goal is ultimately to get people offline to judge chemistry. So we tried to ask the minimum number of questions that would be sufficiently comprehensive to allow you to decide whether you wanted to meet that person. So we ask about, give or take, 10 yes or no or multiple choice questions, and then there's 4 or 5 narrative questions. So it's enough to intrigue you and want to learn more. And the key things that everyone said, or the majority of people said were important to them, we asked. So things like religion, politics, age, body type are in there. But we left a number of things off that we didn't think were as critical to the majority of the population.
Well, safety is so very important. Your app really brings people together very quickly so they can meet in the real world a bit more quickly than a traditional dating site. So safety is a great consideration. Did you think about criminal background checks?
We have thought about criminal background checks, and that is something that we're considering adding in at a future time. Because we have the member review component and it's all private communication and there's no searching, that's another key point. There's no searching. So if we go on a date and we're not compatible, I say I don't want to share my information with you, there's absolutely no way for you to communicate with me or find me again. So you really can't use the service to stalk somebody. And as long as they stick to the public venues, they're about as safe as they would be anywhere else in New York City.
How are you matching people?
We do 3 levels of matching. So it's who you're looking for, which would be like most other dating sites, as well as when and where you're free. So the who you're looking for is based on your profile and your settings. So let's say with religion, you could say that you're Christian, and that you could say that Christianity is very important to you or not important to you in terms of who you want to meet. And then you would say when and where you are free. So you could say that you're free 12 to 2 in Midtown, or weekends in Brooklyn, or next Thursday in Soho, or anytime, anywhere, any place. And then you would be matched with everyone who matches both who you're seeking and who's looking for someone like you, as well as who's free at the times and places that you're free.
Do you believe in personality profiling?
I believe that there needs to be a certain level of matching based on what is important to each person. And that's the way we've set this up. So our premise is that you can't judge chemistry online, so you should try and meet offline to judge chemistry, because even with personality profiling, that doesn't assess the intangible component of attraction and whether there's a spark with that person or not. So I think it gets you part of the way. But ultimately, you really need to meet the person, so that's really where our focus has been.
You consider various approaches for Minidates, and I'd like to know what your definition and understanding of social dating is. How would you define social dating?
Well, I'm not sure that I know what social dating is. I think social integration and social graph integration is an important trend in the industry and something that we're considering for our service. So, and a future release will allow users, for example, to log in using Facebook and auto-import some of the key components of their profile from Facebook, as well as potentially revealing their public identities, should they choose, on the service as part of their profile. I do think that there's a trend where, in essence, millennials especially are very interested in and open to sharing, and they want that validation, and they have no problem having the same identity on a dating site as they do in their social graph, and having that be seamless. The older generation had this idea that dating sites should be anonymous and that they should have a separate identity. I think that's just a relic of just how things evolved in the 1.0 world of online dating, and that will ultimately go away. With our service, actually, you don't have a username. You use your real name. So I would be Beverly M in our service. So it's my real name. I think that's important because you're about to meet that person. And so don't you want to know who you're going to meet? And ultimately, if this is a relationship, don't you want to know who you're going to be in a relationship with? So some of these initial components of the first generation dating, I think, are ultimately going to fade away.
So you're not letting people hide under different guises then? I mean, this is kind of old school dating, make up a funny username, hide, and then only reveal yourself when you're ready. You're letting people reveal themselves from the outset, which is slightly controversial.
It's a different model. It's you use your real phone number, your real email. You can't just cancel your account and go create another account or a duplicate account using the same phone number. So it's about actually being interested in meeting someone as you are and facilitating quick, real, in-person interactions. That's what I really think that ultimately dating is about.
So you're saying get off the computer, get out, go have fun and meet them.
Right, and do it in a way that's safe and fun and private. So it's still private and it's still safe. They can't track you, they can't find you, they can't communicate with you. If you turn off your availability, etc., you disappear. So all the power and control is still in the user's hands. We just make it easy, fun, efficient, fast, convenient.
Let's talk about the development of the app. Because you're a usability designer, right?
That's right. We have a user experience and product development consulting company, Oxford Technology Ventures, which helps other companies launch effective products and services. And we've done user experience and usability now for over a decade and over 4 years as Oxford Technology Ventures. And we saw an opportunity in the dating space because many of the existing services are actually very frustrating for users. The whole flow and the whole process is basically you get this list of search results of people or profiles, and then you have to search and sort and vet and message and schedule and plan with all of those, and there's huge drop-off. We conducted some anecdotal research and found that in essence only about 100 possible profile matches. Of those, maybe only 5 or even 1% will actually lead to a real date, because in between the messaging and the scheduling and the planning, there's massive drop-off. And so that was basically the premise of creating Minidates, was that there has to be an easier, better, more fun, more efficient way to do this that puts the control in the user's hands. And we thought by front-loading the dates and getting the dates out there, since that's ultimately the goal. The ultimate goal is to meet someone offline and actually have some interaction with them. If we front-loaded that would, in essence, simplify the whole thing. So it was ultimately a user experience problem that we solved through a product solution with a better, what we think is a much better experience.
So I just had lunch with the CEO of a medium-sized internet dating company, and she had a bit of a hang-up with this approach. I'd love to get your thoughts on this. Now, she basically said, look, she's single, she just wants to go out and have a quick 15-minute coffee or a glass of wine. That's the only thing she wants to do on a first date. It's the same thing over and over again. And then she'll go and do something else later on if she wants to go and have a second date. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, as you can imagine, by calling our site Minidates, that fits in right with our model. So our logo is a wine glass and a coffee cup combined. We only allow dates in coffee shops and bars because we also believe that for most people on a first date, really all they want to do is have a quick interaction. And we have some PR and stunts planned, which you may see in the next couple months, for, let's say, someone going on 24 dates in 24 hours or in 24 neighborhoods, because this can be used as a social discovery tool here in New York to explore all the different neighborhoods. So that's basically our premise as well. Make it quick and convenient and easy to have a very short, low-key interaction with someone for 15 or 20 minutes. And then if it doesn't work out, thank you very much, very nice to meet you. And if it does, then you can follow up later and plan the next time to meet them.
And do you help them with the second date too?
We allow you, after you go on the date, then you're prompted to rate that person. And it's not a hot or not type rating, or even whether you are compatible. The rating is actually for the community primarily, although it's also for you. So we ask you, did the other person show up? Were they on time? Would you recommend them to a friend? And I'm forgetting the fourth one. Then we ask them if you want to share your information. So you can say, in essence, you can determine right there whether they were courteous or not, in essence. Oh yes, were they courteous to you? That was the main one. So the whole thing is really about courteousness. Because if they don't show up, let's say they do that consistently for 3 people, then they're really not being very, very respectful to other people on the service. Same thing if they were consistently just a jerk. That's not good for the group. The final part, though, is you say whether you want to share your contact information with them. And also, would you like to be rematched with them? So you can decide to be rematched, and then in essence, the system will auto-schedule you for a second date.
How do you, under what criteria do you eject members from the community then?
Basically, 3 strikes, you're out for any one thing. So if you don't show up 3 times, chances are it wasn't a mistake. Same thing, if 3 people say you were a jerk, chances are you actually are a jerk. It wasn't just the other person saying so. So, and you get a warning after the second try. So people will know that they need to basically start at the bare minimum. We think everyone should be able to be courteous to someone for 15 minutes. That's our threshold.
And that's it, they're out, never going to let them back in.
Well, for at least a little bit of time, let's say 3 months or something.
Gotcha. So you tell us more about how you developed the app. Was it HTML5 or was it native app?
We chose to go HTML5, and what that means is any Android phone user or iPhone phone user or anyone on a desktop using a modern browser, so not Internet Explorer but Chrome or Safari, can access our app. And when they access it at minidates.com, actually app.minidates.com, they will all have the exact same experience whether they're on their mobile phone or whether they're on a website. And actually when you load it on your desktop, it looks like a mobile app because it's actually the exact same experience, same layout and everything. So we wanted to do that intentionally to really emphasize the fact that you can use your phone for this site. Because obviously there's a trend right now. It's still a small percentage, but mobile is growing. Mobile is the future of dating, and it fits our app because we're sending you offline. Your calendar's on your phone. You look up your map on your phone. You want to send text messages on your phone. You check your email on your phone. So we need to have the website also work. And the benefit of HTML5 is that it's one app that we can update at any time, and it works on all platforms. We will ultimately launch native apps for iPhone and Android, but probably not for several months. Actually, all the benefit of a native app is really already there in the phone, except for some small little things with iPhone and photos.
What's missing? What are the advantages of, what are the additional features that you'll include with a native app?
There are really only two benefits to a native app. There's a small little component on an iPhone with photos. iPhones do not support photo upload on a web browser. So this isn't specific to Minidates. This is for anyone using a web browser. You can't upload a photo. So that means if the user tries to complete their profile with their photo on their iPhone, they won't be able to upload a photo from the phone. But we do actually tell them that they need to go to a desktop. So obviously if we had a native app, then we could support that. The other thing is we can't do in-app notifications. So we can't get it built into your other notifications on your phone. But we already enable text and email notifications, and you can get notifications when the app is open. So not many benefits, really. It's basically just like a native app in terms of how it feels, how it looks, and how it operates.
And what's your position on location-based services? Will you integrate LBS into the future Minidates?
We may. We began basically because we saw what was going on with location-based services, which promises many of the things that we were aiming to achieve, which is convenience, flexibility, making this process more efficient. The problem with location-based services is that they're overwhelmingly male. So the current stat is something like 80-20 male to female. And there's two reasons for that. One is women don't feel safe and secure using location-based services. They feel like they're stalker apps, they don't like people knowing where they are. The other part of that is that the services themselves are really focused around hookups. So the way the profiles are structured, etc., they really focus on basically very casual relationships, which emphasizes even more the feeling of vulnerability for many women. So we felt there was real opportunity to have a woman-owned and oriented product. Obviously, I'm a woman and I've created this that could come at this from a different angle. So by adding in schedule, it really changes the equation, because just because I say that I'm going to be at Soho even in a half an hour, that doesn't mean I'm in Soho right now. So therefore, having that distance allows the user's safety and privacy. That said, we do allow the user to say that they're interested in going on a date. You can get a date within an hour with our service. So you could say if it's 5 o'clock, you could have a date by 6 o'clock. And if it's 5:30, if both parties respond quickly enough, you could still have a date by 6 o'clock. The dates happen on the hour. So we are considering adding the ability to set your location to match where you are at that point. But it's a minor little point. Right now you could still say you're in Soho, you just have to manually select it. So it's not much more work over location-based with our service.
So the big question, how do you make money?
Right now we are free. We just launched, so we need to build a base first. But ultimately we aim to be freemium. So a freemium subscription model where the user can try out the service, get some dates, experience the whole process, and then ultimately, if they like it, they'll need to pay a subscription fee. We're considering the 2-tier price model. This will be 6+ months down the road, so it won't be happening immediately. But the idea is you could pay by the date, or you could pay by the month for unlimited dates.
What do you think you'll charge?
That we are really not sure about right now. It depends. We've got multiple different markets that are interested in this. So we've got millennials who are attracted to it because it's fun, it's a social discovery mechanism. Millennials don't tend to want to pay for dating. We've got busy professionals who like the fact that it works around their schedule. They really have no issues with paying market prices, which would be equivalent to Match or How About We or any of the other paid sites out there. There's also the possibility that we go up market and that we cater to basically as a matchmaker replacement with a substantially higher price tag and a more kid glove approach for the onboarding, where maybe we might, let's say, give you professional photos for your profile and help you with your profile text, and do a little more with a more premium service offering, and that would be at a higher price point.
And what modes of payment will you offer? How will people be able to put in their credit cards or pay?
That is to be determined. We'll probably just use one of the biggest payment sources, whether it's PayPal or, obviously, if we have an iPhone app, then you use the iPhone iTunes. So I don't know yet.
So, do you think microtransactions are going to be important for you?
We had considered allowing the user to pay per date, but we are moving away from that model to a subscription model because we want to incentivize use and engagement. We don't want to de-incentivize it. And so if there's any hurdle between you going on the date, let's say you're on the fence about the time or you're on the fence about the person, we want you to say yes, not no. And if there's a price tag attached to it, you're more likely to say no. Whereas if you already paid for it because it's like a buffet and it's unlimited, then you're more likely to say yes. So there's a possibility. I think it's worth testing, but we tested it a little bit already in our research, and so far I think we're going to stick with subscription.
That's the biggest challenge with starting a dating site, is getting to critical mass, getting to the first few thousand, several thousand members. How will you do that?
Well, right now we have 3,000 people on our waiting list that we have already recruited to actively use Minidates and have shown interest. And we did that primarily actually through street marketing and actually direct sales to customers, basically. So we have a team of brand ambassadors that go out and they go into coffee shops and bars and festivals, and they come up to you and talk to you about Minidates. And they describe how it works and how it's different, and then they ask for the person's email, and if they're interested, then they will ultimately get an invite. And this has proven to be highly effective for us because this is obviously a very crowded, saturated space with lots of competition. And we needed a way to break through to customers and have them understand in a very concrete way how we're different from other services. And we found that direct interaction, that direct sales method was actually the best way. Regular advertising, social advertising, Facebook advertising, it's very hard to convey how you're different, especially when there are other competing services that promise to get users offline, even though they don't actually get users offline. We actually do get you offline. We're the first and only service that gets you dates. We can actually promise you dates. Nobody else can do that.
I think in a way you're actually priming the word of mouth punch, right? You're actually getting people to the right pitch so that they can hopefully carry that message onwards. So this sounds like a great job. I'd love to have that job. Tell me, how much does it pay and what do I need to do?
Well, we're toying with the payment model all the time. We also have partnerships by the way. We have partnerships with, we're planning on partnerships with the venues themselves, and we've got partnerships with promoters like people who've organized meetups around dating and other singles groups. So it isn't just this direct model. But what this direct model has allowed us to do is, for example, when I was pitching Minidates earlier this week to a panel of VCs, one of the VCs kept asking me, well, how well do you know your market? And how do you know why your customers are interested or that customers are interested? When you just have a landing page and people happen to click on a link because from Facebook or something, you can't be guaranteed that those people had really any interest in your service. But with us, we've gotten thousands of people to give us very direct response to the idea, what they like about it, why, what they'd like to see. So I feel like we have a fairly good understanding of our potential target audience and who's going to be using this. And different people like it for different reasons. Like men like it because it's easy and convenient. Women like it because it's safe and they're in control. Millennials like it for social discovery. It turns out there's a gay male market that likes it because they look at it as a more sophisticated version of Grindr. So there's different audiences that like it for different reasons. And then there's just the broad base, especially of active daters who have tried other dating services and have found it to be very frustrating and time-consuming, and that they haven't gotten the results that they've needed, or they can understand the pain and how much effort and time it takes, and they immediately get that this is an easier, faster, more convenient, and efficient way to meet people.
I'm going to give you $200,000, right? With one caveat, you've got to spend it in the space of a 2-week period to promote and grow Minidates to critical mass and beyond. Where are you going to put the money? How are you going to spend it?
In 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Well, wow, with 2 weeks' time. Well, we would definitely spend at least a good chunk of that on search engine marketing and Facebook marketing, which right now we're doing none of because it's too expensive in online. So we found that our street marketing is more effective and less expensive. But we wouldn't be able to scale our street marketing to use $200,000 in 2 weeks. We could over 6 months.
So what's going to happen in a year's time? Where do you see Minidates in 1 year's time?
Well, our goal for the next 6 to 8 months is to really launch and grow the service here in New York. So we really want to have a great success story here in New York. So that's really where we're focusing right now. And then we hope to replicate the model in other major cities in the US and abroad. We actually think there's huge opportunity for Minidates in Europe, especially in London. It overcomes British Reserve, kind of like Lovestruck, but more configurable. And perhaps with a broader audience base. And then actually Asia, this could also be huge in India. It could be another Igniter step out story, we think.
Beverly May, you're the founder and CEO of Minidates.com. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.